The following content is sponsored and does not necessarily reflect the views of WATD Radio. Now, Paul Ponders on 95.9 WATD. Be a part of the show. Call or text 781-837-4900. Now, here's your host, Paul Solano.
Greetings, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to another episode, another show of Paul Ponders Podcast. And I'm part of the PSNL Marketing Group. And with me in studio is Arthur Boyle, Boiling Point.
Arthur. Well, we were successful Boiling Point for a while, and we have other obligations now, and we've turned it over to you, and you're doing a great job based on last week's 1 week tryout, and you made the grade.
It worked out well. I had a great mentor. And as the executive consultant of Paul Ponders on WATD, you said you got to take care of business first. So why don't we go to our commercial break and invite our sponsors to tell us a few things.
Sounds good to me.
Have you tried Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857. Have you heard about Pembroke Collision? Price and quality don't often collide under the same roof. Not so at Pembroke Collision at 192 Manakesett Street in Pembroke. Pembroke Collision will work with you and your insurance company to get you back on the road in a safe and satisfactory vehicle. Put your trust in Ben Bastianelli and his crew at Pembroke Collision. Just call 781-293-4040 or find them on Facebook. Pembroke Collision, happy to work for you.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back. Thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD. So Arthur Boyle, executive consultant of Paul Ponders, welcome back. What's happening?
Well, it's nice to be back. I put together that list you asked me about the other day about the number of famous and infamous people that we've met along the road of WATD and ATD Sports in particular. And I said it came to the extreme that I interviewed Tim Tebow when he was up here as a minor league player, and I interviewed Dennis Oil Can Boyd on the other hand.
That is one extreme to the other.
Yeah. There's been, I know I'll miss some if I start off with, I met Doug Flutie along the way. And not to name drop, but he's as nice a guy to the 200th kid getting his autograph as he is to the first kid. He really impressed me. And you get a real feel for the athletes. David Ortiz, we were at spring training with him several years ago, and a woman came up to him, and she had to be in her 80s. And she said, "Can I hug you?" And he said, "Sure." He was just as nice as could be. And I think you find that in general, that sports people are good people.
That's true, and shout out to Doug Flutie. He was
a classmate of yours, wasn't he?
You
were a classmate of his.
Actually, no. Yeah, exactly. He was a semester behind me at Boston College, and I used to play basketball with Doug in the Plex, and he was a really great basketball player, and he's probably still playing some hoops as well. But he's a great family, and I actually had some business dealings in association with his brother Darren, who had a career in the NFL and also the CFL. Darren is a wonderful person, as well as Doug. Just really the whole Flutie family. Just awesome people. Go Eagles. Shout out to the Eagles there. But
yeah, they play the 28th, I think.
I believe so. In the whatever Pinstripe Bowl, the Mowers or something. There's some naming opportunity for that Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, well, I won't be going in my pocket for that.
Well, we'll be on the air and on the station. We'll be on that day, so I don't think I'll be doing it remotely, but we'll have to tune in. And also, too, I believe the Fenway Bowl is that day, maybe later on in the day. The Wasabi Bowl, I believe.
Yeah, they're all interesting stories behind them. Who's backing them up and who's who's getting the real benefit out of the bowl game, because you look in the stands and there's nobody there.
Right, exactly. It really is incredible how the dynamics of the college bowl system has in fact played out, especially like on, say, on New Year's Day, BITD, as my daughters would say back in the day. You would look forward to, you had the Orange Bowl, you had the
Sugar
Bowl, and the Rose Bowl about 4:30, and the Cotton Bowl, I think, was first on CBS, right?
They change every couple of years. I can't keep track of them anymore. I'll watch the game if it's going to be a good game, but if it's 49-7 blowout, I'm not that interested in watching.
Exactly. And going back to Doug Flutie, I remember in those days when BC got the invitation to go to the Tangerine Bowl. I believe that was in, 1981, I believe, December of 1981.
I was just a child.
Yes, you were. Yes, indeed, without a doubt. We do invite our callers, our listeners, to call in at 781-837-4900, or you could even listen to us on Odyssey app.
Yeah, I would anticipate that some of the listeners would have met along the way, South Shore people, because we're a South Shore radio station, and you run into Billy Curley and his brothers, and
Absolutely.
They're as nice as, gentlemen, and they're, coach locally, and, it's really, you can reach out and shake their hand, and, they have some good stories to tell, and we love to get the guys in. We'll have to do that in some week in the future. You also have the coach, Bill Wilhelm.
Yes.
He was 43 years, give or take, on air, and he was fabulous. And
he's, Coach, hopefully Coach and Marsha are listening in. A shout out to Coach Bill. And I remember when I used to be on some remotes. I believe we were at Damien's Pub for a Super Bowl many years ago.
Super Bowls ago.
Many Super Bowls ago, yes. Indeed, it was a lot of fun. I remember us meeting the Elvis impersonator. I think his name was Roland, but he was just a fabulous Elvis impersonator.
Yeah, that's when I was much younger and could, drink with the best of them, and now stay away from it all. And
absolutely, it seems like we could have maybe could this be Joey from the neighborhood calling in? Maybe it could be. Just checking that. Alrighty, it looks like we have
the funniest man in the business.
Absolutely. Could this be Joey from the neighborhood?
How you doing? She's Joey from the neighborhood.
How are you?
Who's this?
It's
Who's
Paul.
This?
Paul Ponders and
Paul
Arthur
Morello.
Boyle.
How you doing, guys? How are you?
Well, we're looking forward to the 21st.
Are you going to come on the 21st? It's going to be a good night.
Yeah, we're working on it to get. It's a real road trip to get up there on a holiday weekend, so we're gonna give it our best effort.
Oh, good. I can't wait.
And to give that shout out, you're going to be at the Pearl Street Station Restaurant in Malden.
That's right. My partner and I, Mike Baselli, Mikey V, with the Boston Comedy Show, we're going to be at Pearl Street Station Restaurant in Malden, December 21st. If you want tickets, you can go to eventbrite.com. And there's limited seats available. We're just about sold out, but there's still some seats available if people want to buy tickets.
Well,
If you want to see a video preview of the show, you can go to joeyvoices.com or the BostonComedyShow.com.
Now, I know that we are taking dinner reservations, and I will say that we have about 45 dinner reservations already. So we have enough space at Pearl Street Station Restaurant to accommodate a few more parties. But really, tickets are going fast, and it's going to be a great show. And you may have a few voices with you that night.
I'm going to have a few voices with me that night. That's right.
And who?
We're going to see Cher.
No
You're
way.
going to see Elvis. You're going to see Al Green. You're going to see Rod Stewart, Boz Scaggs. You're going to see Dave Matthews and John Mayer and the Bee Gees. You're going to see a lot of good stuff, man. There's a lot of voices that night.
And, of course, at one point, I think we may see a little Rodney Dangerfield.
Hey, I tell you, it ain't easy. I get no respect. Yeah. I tell you, my wife and I, we were happy for 20 years. Yeah, then we met.
It never gets old, really. Joey Voices, you
It
are
never
just
gets old. No.
it never does. You're
I can't
a master.
I can't wait. I can't wait for that night. And here's the thing with me. I'm not a very good manager at many things, but I'm very good at managing the voices in my head. They sing to me, and I love music.
I think I've seen that on one of your shirts.
Yeah, the voices in my head sing to me.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's great. And I believe you have two comedians performing, maybe three?
We got two comedians on the bill, but have added a third, Nolan Baker.
I
And,
have heard of Nolan, sure.
Nolan's fantastic. Eddie Baker's son.
Sure, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well,
I hear he's
breaking
doing
in.
really well. I hear he's breaking in very nicely. That's
he's
great.
excellent, and he's so Nolan is he's making his debut with the Boston Comedy Show on the 21st. I can't wait for him to get out there and do his thing.
That's great. And you have Jody Sloan?
Jody Sloan, and we got Sean O'Brien Jr. And we got a great lineup down there. We got Mikey V, Mike Maselli. He's great also. So we got four great comics performing that night, along with myself. And I'm very excited. I love it.
Your show is worth the money in itself.
Thank you, Arthur. I really appreciate you saying that. It means a lot. I worked very hard at it. I've been doing it 21 years professionally, and when it gets acknowledged, it's you appreciate it. I mean, Chronicle did a story on my career a couple of months ago, and I was so grateful that they called me to do it. I mean, they recognized me for my talent, and when someone recognizes you for what you do, especially when it's what you love, that's what gratitude is. You never feel more grateful, you know?
Attitude really is gratitude. And earlier in the week, you and I were discussing your extraordinary muffins and the cupcake story, which we'll use for another week, which we'll talk about another week. But I do want to hear more about that and really just use that as a teaching tool, if you will. And it's a great basis on life. And we had talked about you going out on the circuit and just speaking to local groups and colleges, high schools, and to talk about extraordinary muffins. And it's really a great story. Yeah.
Cupcake story is a good story. It's about believing in yourself.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times people don't believe in themselves, but what they don't realize is everybody's got at least someone in their life that believes in them. And the thing is, my advice is to latch on to that person and believe in their belief in you until you can believe in yourself. You know, everyone needs encouragement to go forward even when they're afraid. And that's really the goal, and that's the message there, you know. Sometimes you got to believe in another person's belief in you until you can believe in yourself.
That is so true. It really is. Words to live by.
Well, for somebody that's tried stand-up in the past, and I've done it probably a half a dozen times, there's nothing quite like getting booed off the stage.
Nothing wrong with that. At least you tried, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things that was on my bucket list, and I said it would be worth the time and trouble to work up a little bit of a sideline act, and I had fun doing it. I don't know how much fun the people in the audience had, but they seemed to laugh a little bit. So,
yep, that's good.
It really is.
That's good.
So, Joey, do you have any gigs you're performing at today or tomorrow as we wind down?
Actually, no, we're actually having our reunion. We have a Malden, kids we all grew up with in Malden reunion. We have it every year, and we're having it tonight at Post 1917 in Reading. Post 1917 it's an upscale restaurant, upscale steakhouse on Haven Street, the old post office. It's right up in Maine, and I'm going to tell you, this is phenomenal food. And the drinks, the bar, it's very upscale. When you walk in, you know you're in a nice restaurant. And so that's what we're having here tonight. And it's called Post 1917, and it's in Reading.
That's awesome. Well, we'll have to maybe look at getting them as a sponsor as we head into our commercial break shortly. But as we wind down, Joey from the neighborhood, thank you for calling in. And how do we get tickets for the Boston Comedy Show again?
You get tickets at Eventbrite.com, and if you want to see a video preview of the show, you go to joeyvoices.com.
That is awesome. Awesome. Well, Joey from the neighborhood, thanks for being here. Be well, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Well, thank you very much, and Arthur, thank you also. God bless you both.
God bless. Thank you.
Have a good one. Yep, bye-bye.
You as well. And with that, we go into...
There's a little secret between Joey and I, is that we grew up about 5 houses apart.
That's right, yeah. The way the house is set up, you're right. Exactly. Yeah. Thinking back to your old neighborhood. Absolutely. Very good. Well, let's take this into a commercial break, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Have you heard about Pembroke Collision? Price and quality don't often collide under the same roof. Not so at Pembroke Collision at 192 Manakesett Street in Pembroke. Pembroke Collision will work with you and your insurance company to get you back on the road in a safe and satisfactory vehicle. Put your trust in Ben Bastianelli and his crew at Pembroke Collision. Just call 781-293-4040 or find them on Facebook. Pembroke Collision, happy to work for you. Have you tried Bryantville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
Welcome back, and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD. And if you feel like calling in, give us a call at 781-837-4900. I believe my staff back at Pearl Street Station Restaurant is listening to me, especially Chef Felipe Fitzpatrick in the kitchen. And you could also download the Odyssey app. But really, Arthur,
Paul was checking to make sure you were on time this morning.
Exactly. No, my staff is always showing up early. They're a great staff and really the heart and the pulse of Pearl Street Station Restaurant.
And plenty of free parking.
Yes, exactly. Indeed. Now, we have some segments. We have in the queue, we'll be going live with one of the segments in about 10, 15 minutes or so. But we have future shows coming up, and one of the segments we'll be having is the Pod Pro Entertainment Techie Toolbox segment with Techie Talonzo Amos.
Well, this will be right up my alley.
Absolutely.
Mr. Illiterate.
I resemble that remark. And also
he's referring to me.
Oh, okay. And also Shelley Wolf, a global media firm owner of Toolbox Entertainment. So that's one segment we'll be rolling out next week or the week after. And then we're going to have the financial wing of Olympic Proportion with Olympian Dave Jensen, Senior Loan Officer for Riverworks Credit Union, and Hank Morse, Vice President of Communications of Cabot Risk Strategies, LLC, and maybe a pop-in guest with from Joe Callahan, the President and CEO from Cabot Risk Strategies, LLC. And you know Hank from Medford, that Malden-Medford connection. Hank sends his regards.
Yeah, his dad was a great salesman in his day in the trucking industry, and I used to run into him all the time. And he was a real gentleman, and was a lot of fun to be around, to work around. And he took the young guys, and I was one of the young guys at the time, probably in my early 20s, mid-20s. And I was his trucking salesman, and he taught me the ropes.
That is great. Now, Mr. Morse, Al Morse, really great guy, and I've met him a few times during the course of many events that Hank and I have been at, and he's just a true gentleman and great veteran, just a great guy. He really is. But Hank sends his regards. It's funny, we play 6 Degrees of Hank and 6 Degrees of Paul, and we throw in 6 Degrees of Dave Boyle, your brother Dave Boyle. We bring in 6 Degrees of Arthur Boyle and 6 Degrees of Mike Boyle. And, you know, we probably cover about 1,000 names. It's incredible.
Yeah, if you're in public life, you tend to meet a lot of people that you wouldn't meet in other, walks of, business. And it's tough sometimes too, because you end up on opposite sides of the political swing at times, or.
Without a doubt, it's really something how the politics of the situation have really alienated a lot of friendships, a lot of relationships, and it's really very, very sad, if you will, on that. But during the course of your political career, and we go all the way back to the Malden days, I believe starting on the Northeast Metro Tech Vocational Committee, and then on to Malden City Council, or the school committee first, then Malden City Council, and even to your career down here. Tell us about your career.
Well, you've captured most of it. It's not that big a deal. We had a lot of part-time work doing constituent services, and that was, as a selectman, as a city councilman, as a school committee member. Somebody asked me about what do you want to be remembered for, and I think of all the things that were important to me at the time, and to my kids growing up, and my wife being happy, and a different environment. She's a city girl that came to Pembroke, and now she'd never go back. She'd never leave. But I think the school system, the fact that we got an independent school system for the town of Pembroke, in the breakaway from Silver Lake, that I think if I want to be remembered for something, and we'll see how many people are listening now, I still have people that want to chew my head off because I was involved in the breaking up the school district, but it's worked out in the long run, and it's made our school system a valuable part of the community and a real jewel of the community. So I think it's well done. So
that is important, and of course, like anything else, and I'll spout out my Paul Ponders philosophy and mindset is that a lot of people are in that river in Egypt called denial. Okay, and they just don't want change. They want to take that path of least resistance, and they just don't want to try anything new, and they don't look at the big picture. And what you had, in fact, instituted or brought forth, if you will, with your colleagues on the school committee, and doing the research and doing all the things that you needed to do, you said, okay, this is what the future will look for. We're going to, as Wayne Gretzky said, we're going to skate to where the puck is going, not to where it's been. And it's something that you really nailed.
Yeah, it was, an exciting time for the town. It was, growth spurts going on. There was a construction of a 256 unit apartment building over off of Winter Street, and there was just a lot of things happening, and for the better. I have to say it's, it makes you kind of crazy when, people, jump on that and they, they don't have all the facts, or, they have a particular, they have a particular interest. It's a selfish interest. We didn't have that. Our children were out of school by then.
Right, exactly. But you definitely kept the future generations in mind with what your decision making and thought process was, right?
There were some great people that I met along the way, and some that I am friendly to this day that I see on a regular basis. I think, I wouldn't have hit. You got your BC shirt on today, so
yes.
I would never have met Joe Delmonico probably. He was an accountant and I was a real estate appraiser. We wouldn't have crossed paths except for the schools, and he's become one of my true friends forever. And it's important to trust the people that you leave your decisions to, and we got a pretty good spot. It was a 2-to-1 or even better than that turnout for the school, and it's something that people can argue with for another generation. I won't be around to see it.
Right. Well, when I reflect back, when I hark back to the mid-'80s, early '90s, when we used to drive down from Malden, we used to go paddle boat shopping at Carl Frisbee paddle boat, and we used to put the boat on the water on Little Sandy, and we used to go through the town of Bryantville, town of Pembroke, and to see what it's like today is really, really great.
Yeah, it's changed, some for the better, some for the worse, but that's progress, and we're happy to be on Little Sandy, and I can't think of any place I'd rather be.
Oh, without a doubt, it's really just great being out there, especially on a nice, warm summer's day. And even I will say, in the wintertime, it's really quite pretty.
It's quite cold, though.
It is.
You can tell the electric bill what month it's from by looking at the amount in the end of the column.
Right, exactly. It was so cold you saw a chicken with a cape on, right?
That's right.
Yes, indeed. Well,
for those of us who were sleeping during the joke Paul just told us.
There we go. It's a dad joke. My daughter's listening in Quincy. Dad, shout out to her. She has a birthday tomorrow. And my other daughter has a birthday on Monday, so shout out to my daughters. I think my oldest daughter, Ann, is listening via the Odyssey app in California. So happy birthday to Ann on Monday, and to Rachel.
Two great girls.
Absolutely, without a doubt. So the fourth segment that we're going to have is the Uplift Provisions Nonprofit Corner of the Week, with the president and founder, Rocco Dinelli. We'll be rolling that out in future weeks, and I invite our friends on the South Shore in the nonprofit world to email me at paul@paulponders.com, and just let me know if you want to be featured, if your nonprofit wants to be featured on the podcast in this segment, which we're rolling out today. And with us on the line, I see we have Rocco Dinelli on the way to New Jersey. Rocco is the creator of Uplift Provisions Company, co-owner and master barber of Over the Top Barbershop. He's the Barbershop Educator of the Year in the barber industry, but most importantly, he's the father of two above anything else. So I see on the line, Rocco on the way to New Jersey. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Paul. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for being part of the Paul Ponders podcast. I have Arthur Boyle, the former host of Boiling Point, in studio with me. Arthur?
Nice to meet you.
Well, it's nice to meet you over the phone. It's kind of a kick to talk to somebody for the first time and you seeing them on a screen.
Well, you know, yeah, absolutely. Well, Rocco is just a truly dynamic individual. He is so full of spirit, of devotion, of doing everything for the right reasons in the nonprofit world, and he's also I'm really not the best test case because of my lack of hair on the head. But
you're considered to be hair disadvantaged.
Okay, yes. What was that? Follically
challenge.
Yes, like that. But anyways, Rocco, if you want to tell our listeners on WATD about yourself, Uplift Provisions, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for all those kind words. I think for me, the biggest thing in life is community and creating a comfortable place in our shops, as well as, you know, anything that we do in the hair world to build a good foundation of community, having walks of life from all over, you know, come in and feel comfortable with us, you know, to hear their stories, and especially when it comes to our product line, Uplift Provisions. As you know, it became after a lot of adversity in my life and going through a lot of trials and tribulations and, you know, losing two sisters and, you know, I'm in the recovery world, so I really needed something that was going to give me a purpose, to be motivational and help others in need. And the best thing I do is make people look good in the chair. So then that's when we created the line to help those look good and feel good through our product line.
Wow, that's awesome. So you have a full line of various products that a barber or a hairstylist would use?
Absolutely, yeah. We're a full line that was, you know, really made to be clean using real ingredients. So paraben-free, sulfate-free, free affiliates that perform, obviously cruelty-free, but also, you know, our nonprofit. So a portion of everything we sell goes to the Family Restored that helps combat families that have been through addiction, loss, grieving, what have you. And we raise a lot of money every year to make sure that we're putting our effort in and, you know, to make a difference.
Without a doubt, and I've seen some of your cutting-edge videos, and a mutual friend of ours is responsible for those videos. So if you want to give a shout-out to Mr. Caruso, please do.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jonathan Caruso, one of a kind. You know, we've been through a lot together. We've known each other for a very long time, and he's one of those friends that has always just stuck by everything that I've done and has always had the same motives for me, and we built together. And what we like to say is we make magic happen. You know, we've done numerous commercials. I used to dress in an angel costume. You know, he put me on a green screen and medicine cabinets. We've traveled the country together, you know, him teaching photography, me teaching about hair, and really creating an awesome education panel. So that's also a shout-out. Is, you know, if any salons or businesses that need a little extra edge for social media marketing or anything of that, you know, it starts with video work and photography. So Jonathan, you know, he's one of a kind. He's a true artist when it comes to that. So I can't speak highly enough of him.
That is so true. So tell us a little bit more about the Family Restored.
Yeah, you know, to dig deep, Family Restored, I had lost a couple sisters and a lot of friends, and I had reached out to a friend of ours when I was new on in recovery, just kind of learn to cope, and I was really stuck because not a lot of people could identify with that type of loss. So I was brought to this organization called the Family Restored, where they were in-person meetings over in Stoneham, the senior center, and there would be parents, loved ones, wives, husbands, spouses, brothers, sisters that were there that have been through some type of, you know, loss or currently needing some type of education on the disease of addiction and alcoholism, and really needing the right resources to understand understand how to find those different, organizations, whether that's a detox center, whether that's a sober home, whether that's a treatment, Section 35, intervention. That's the home group of where you will find those resources and not feel alone.
Wow, that's really powerful stuff, and all this is really benefiting through the work you do with Uplift Provisions.
Correct. Yeah.
And you can tell how much it means to you, and the sincerity just in your voice alone, that you make it all business, and it's hard to do, I think, to be involved in a cause that means so much to you that it's personal.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said it, mixing business with personal, but what's business without being personal, and having personal relationships with people. I think that's the biggest thing in my life is what are your relationships, and making sure that you're making an imprint on any person that you meet, because you never know what someone's going through. And it could be simple as, us selling a pomade and seeing an inspirational quote on the product, or them going on the website and seeing, oh, wow, they actually get back, and, my sister's going through this, or my brother-in-law is going through this. I truly believe, especially in the New England area, that every walk of life has faced some sort of interaction with addiction, whether that's themselves or someone that they know. And we are humans. And as human beings, we're here to learn and, treat each other with respect and not judge. And, for me personally, if you haven't been through anything in life, how do you really grow through adversity? It's one of those things, and I truly feel like the strongest people that I've came in contact with have a really strong story, and it's a beautiful thing.
It truly is, and from a personal perspective, I have a very dear loved one in my family who has been through a program through sobriety, and it's something that it really does not discriminate, and it could happen to any one of us, and it's something that with your devotion, your spirit, your commitment, your compassion in doing good for people who are really in need is really just kudos to you, Rocco. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Without a doubt. Well, Rocco, look forward to hearing from you and Uplift Provisions in the Uplift Provisions Nonprofit Corner of the Week for future segments. And again, a shout out to any nonprofits out there in WATD land. Shoot me an email at paul@paulponders.com, or if anyone wants to give a shout out to Rocco, if you have any questions. Rocco, what's the best way of reaching you?
Absolutely. So you can definitely go on our website at www.upliftprovisionsco.com. You can reach us on Instagram as well at Uplift Provisions Co. We're also available on Amazon. So, we definitely suggest going to the website, but we try to make as many sales channels as possible so that you can get your products, but as well give back, and all the resources should be right there for you.
That is fabulous. That's fabulous. Well, my friend, I thank you. Until we meet again next week, we'll chat along the way, and safe travels on the way to New Jersey.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate your time.
Nice meeting you over the phone, Rocco. We'll see you again someday in the not-too-distant future.
You too, Arthur.
Be well, Rocco. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we're winding down. There's the music, and
a second show under your belt.
I know it, really. This is great. Well, stay tuned to WATD for the memories with Ron Dwyer, the grand poobah of oldies rock and roll. You can check out Paul Ponders on Spotify, YouTube, or other streaming outlets. Thanks again to Tim, Arthur, and our advertisers. But really, thank you, listeners in WATD world and beyond. Keep Paul pondering. #Indeed.